Who cares? That's his line. Thanks. That's a lovely turtleneck. Oh, I'm just going to pull it up for that 1 second.
Perfect. You got it all set up.
Why is Andrew get his own camera?
Shut up.
Do I count down? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ksports Sunday. I'm Andrew Ramsey in the Back Talk studio with Jonathan Bell and Nick Heiler. All right, boys, our first topic today is obviously the most apparent one, the NCAA tournament. What are your reactions to what's happened so far? We'll start with you, Jonathan.
Well, the one big thing, how do you have a 12 and 13 playing each other in the second round? That just shows that upsets just happen way more often. And in the same bracket.
I cannot even stand this tournament anymore because I had Wake Forest going to the Final Four. What happened? Cleveland State? Cleveland State.
Cleveland State happened.
But my bracket is a mess. I'm under 40% right now in correct rating right now. Just all the close calls you could possibly make. It went to the other way.
That happened. My Final Four, well, never mind. I think it's ridiculous how many 12 and 13s are getting farther now.
Well, it's this year more than any other year. There's not like a Houston back in the day, like in the Flash Slam Jammer, where there's like this big juggernaut team. Everybody's kind of equal this year, and it makes for a little more entertaining.
It's a lot harder. USC Boston College, a 10 beating a 7, like Maryland, that's more common now than it was a while ago.
Again, Nick, you mentioned Cleveland State, a 13 seed, knocking off Wake Forest, a 4 seed. And again, Arizona, the 12 seed over Utah, the 5 seed. Now, granted, that one wasn't as unpredicted as Cleveland State, but it still was considered an upset. Western Kentucky over Illinois, another 12 over 5 seed.
That was very expected by a lot of people.
Western Kentucky actually had a good team. They had a legitimate, a little worse team having a chance. But what I'm a little disappointed in at the committee is that St. Mary's didn't make the tournament.
St. Mary's? Oh, my God. You can make a case for almost every team. You can make a case for ITT Tech's basketball team for not making it. I am sick of all these teams. It's not that fun anymore.
But, it was easier back in the day, 10 years ago. A bracket, you wrote it down, and it happened. Now, you could pick, as you said, ITT Tech. And the playing game is ITT Tech.
Hey, not to put down ITT Tech, which is a fine institution.
A game I am particularly interested in is yesterday's North Carolina LSU game.
Big game.
Originally, that game was tied with 14 minutes to go in the second half, and then UNC all of a sudden pulls away for a 20-point win.
That's what makes a championship team. The ability to take hold of a game, no matter what the circumstances, and just run away with it. Tyler Hansborough, UNC is my pick to go all the way, personally. And I think they just have everything going for them to make it a great tourney run.
Well, another thing that I said, same thing happened in the USC Boston College game. It was 52-47 with 10 minutes to go. I checked the score. It's 72-55. We scored 8 points in 10 minutes.
Another one I lost. I never should trust BC. Never trust them. They didn't even make the men's hockey tournament this year because it's going to be BU.
All right, boys. We'll hear more from you in a little bit, but right now let's toss it back to in our studio, our host Alex Friedgood. Alex?
Right now, over at the Garden, the Bruins lead the New Jersey Devils 4-1 with 10 minutes remaining in the game. Mark Recchi kicked off the scoring with a power play goal in the first. Last night, the Celtics, with the Big Three intact, took down Memphis 105-87 for their third consecutive win. Glenn Big Baby Davis led the way for the C's with a career-high 24 points, while Kevin Garnett collected 10 points in limited minutes. Boston will be back in the Garden tomorrow night, taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. In the World Baseball Classic, the U.S. and Japan will face off tonight with Sox starter Daisuke Matsuzaka on the mound for Japan. The winner of tonight's game decides who will face off against Korea in tomorrow's championship game. Sox infielders Dustin Pedroia and Kevin Youkilis will not be digging in against their teammate for the U.S. as they both had to leave the team with minor injuries. The NFL owners' meetings begin this week in California. Will this mean we can finally find a home for Jay Cutler and Julius Peppers? For more on that and to get you caught up on the Sweet 16. Let's turn it back over to Andrew over in the Back Talk set. Andrew?
All right, thanks, Alex. And I'm back here with Jonathan Bell and Nick Heiler. And guys, we're going to start off talking about Julius Peppers.
Yes.
And the story about rumored that he was going to either sign with the Patriots or be traded to the New England Patriots from the Carolina Panthers. Again, the franchise tag was placed on Julius Peppers, but then reports from ESPN came in that it was 99.9% no, that Julius Peppers was not going to the Patriots. Nick, we'll start with you this time. What do you think about this whole saga?
Years ago, I had a vision, a revelation, if you will, that Julius Peppers would find his way to New England, and now it's happening. Now, this 99.9% chance, I know, it's a legitimate thing. The Panthers don't want to give him up for nothing. He is one of the best defenders that's been in since the last decade. Like, he's second on the all-time sack list in the last 10 years, just behind Jason Taylor. But now it seems that the only way he might come would be through free agency. A trade, you would have to give up at least a first-round draft pick for him, because that is what he's worth. But there's really no team that can offer Julius Peppers what the Patriots can. He wants to move to an outside linebacker role. The Patriots' 3-4 defense fits into that perfectly. Now, it does come up with the problem with signing back Richard Seymour or Vince Wilfork. But beyond all that, Julius Peppers would be a perfect fit into the Patriots, and he would bring maybe 1-2 more rings.
Well,
Jonathan, go ahead. Yeah.
I agree with him, but Richard Seymour and Vince Wilfork, huge parts of our defense. In 2001, in 2006, in 2007, huge. To give up Richard, he's like our defensive leader. He helps us on the field and off the field. What happens if we give him up? What happens?
We don't have to give him up, though. It would just drive the price down. If he does move out outside linebacker Julius Peppers, it might drive the price down a little.
There is a thing called salary cap. We
You
can't
can
go
reconstruct.
above that.
You can reconstruct.
Adelius Thomas and Terrell Mayo, those are two outside linebackers. You can't. What do we do with them?
You do bring up a good point, though, Nick, that he wants to move to that outside linebacker role because don't forget, in the Patriots 3-4 scheme, they already have Richard Seymour, Vince Wilfork, who is definitely a staple of that defense, as well as Ty Warren, a guy not quite as talked about as Vince Wilfork or Richard Seymour.
He can get it done.
But still a quality defensive lineman all the same.
Quality. Eats that humble pie. Is that 2 years ago? I can't use that comment, humble pie, anymore? That's so 2 years ago.
All right. But, Jonathan, you do bring up a good point that right now the Patriots have Adelius Thomas and Gerard Mayo also on the roster, two quality outside linebackers. So you wonder, where does Julius Peppers fit in and who do you move around to accommodate Peppers? Because there's no question that Peppers is a definite quality addition to any team.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is Adelius is big enough to go to inside linebacker. When we lost Vrabel, why don't we move Adelius in and shift Peppers out if we get Peppers?
Well, we don't necessarily have to do that. But also, look into the draft. We don't... Okay, I'm getting kind of off Peppers. I'm moving into the draft. But look, there's 3 possible draft picks, or even 4 of great linebacking core, like Ray Maluga out of USC, Clay Matthews out of USC, Brian Cushing out of USC, who's an outside linebacker, or James Laurinaitis out of Ohio State. And also on the Patriots right now are 2 rookies from last year, Sean Crable, Gary Guyton, and last time I checked, we still have Teddy Bruschi. He's still going strong. Vrabel, I think that was a tough one to give up. That's a hard guy. He did everything right, but I think Peppers would put this defense over the top. This would put this just over the top where you couldn't beat them in any way.
And a long time we've been fighting with the Ravens for the top defense in the league. And I've heard reports from ESPN that they're going more offensively shifted this year, so we could move into that top defensive slot. And another thing is, as you said, we also have, I can't remember his name.
Sean Springs.
We got
Major
Blake
sign.
Bawden.
And Joey Galloway on the offensive
Joey
side.
Galloway, that is
Fred
incredible.
Taylor, that was I think an
watched-
excellent sign, especially for the
in
running
Tampa
game.
Bay, I've watched Joey Galloway, and he is incredible. Wes Welker, Randy Moss, and Joey Galloway, we've got deep guys, we've got middle guys, we've got slant guys, we've got everything. Julius Peppers would make us almost
And people are, the thing about Tom Brady, the thing I point out when people say this about, hey, if he's only half as good as he was 2 years ago, he's still good for like 25 touchdowns.
I mean, he's just incredible. I don't think you can get a quarterback better than him. You're
Coming
asking
back.
for so much out of a guy coming back from an ACL injury. When you look at Carson Palmer, he was really never the same.
All right, we stay in the NFL, but we're going to move on to a different topic. Jay Cutler. Again, another kind of a free agent saga and a rivalry here going on between Jay Cutler and the Denver Broncos.